let's get started with file upload and download. What I want to do is talk about how to implement file upload and download in IronSpeed Designer. And what is our goal in this case? Our goal here is to upload a file to a database table, and then we want to make sure that we save the file name in a field so that we not only have the binary contents of the file, but also the name of the field in the database. And then obviously when we want to essentially display the file, we want to effectively create a download file link which can be clicked, and then that particular file opened up in the appropriate application in IronSpeed Designer. So that's our goal, and an example of that screenshot is shown at the bottom here, where what you can do is click a link of the file and then open that Excel or Microsoft Word or any other application with that particular file in there. So how do we accomplish that? Well, in version 6.0, it is actually very easy to accomplish. It actually does not require a code customization, but this is something that is asked often of us as far as how to do this thing. So I thought that I could cover this thing in this webinar as well. So what's important over here is, in our strategy, what we need to do is we need to do two things. Number one, we need to add a file upload control on an add page or an edit page, for example, and we want to make sure that we save the file name in the database. And the second step that we need to do is, of course, on a show record or a show table page, we need to be able to create a download file link and set the download link to use the file name here. So that's what we would like to accomplish here. And let's see how we can do that. So first and foremost, what I'm going to do is use a Microsoft Access database. In the Microsoft Access database, I'll have two fields that are relevant over here. There's an attachment table, and the attachment table has an attachment ID, which is an auto-numbering field, basically an ID field. And then the two important fields that we're looking for is, one is the file name field, which is just nothing but the name of the file, so it's about 255 characters in this Microsoft Access schema, and then the file content. Now, Microsoft Access does not have a binary type. What we're going to use is what's called the OLE object type, and this is what is going to be used by IronSpeed Designer in order to save the content of the file. And then, of course, we'll have a description field that goes along with that if we want to essentially attach a description for the file. But the two most important fields are the file name and the file content. So here's exactly how that looks like in SQL Server 2005, for example. In the case of a file content, the same kind of schema would essentially have an image data type, and make sure that in terms of effectively that if you have an attachment ID, it is essentially set up as an identity. So that's how the schema is in SQL Server 2005. So with that, let's talk about how you would go about adding this. I'm going to switch over to IronSpeed Designer over here with one of the applications here. And what I will do is go ahead and add a new page. And in this particular page, I'll create essentially a show table, the show table page for a particular table. So in this case, the file attachment. So I'm going to simply call it my page. And what you will notice here is that when I create this page here, it'll allow me to select effectively a table that goes along with it. Now, in this particular case, I actually was making a copy of the database, so I don't have the copy of the database with me here. Okay, I made a mistake over here, but let me see if I can set up that table. Hang on just 1 second. I apologize. There was a problem with one of our systems, and what the problem essentially ended up that I'm running on actually a different system right now at this point in time. So that's the reason why I cannot access the database. And I am going to copy. Okay. apologize for Okay, let me go ahead and what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and create a quick application here and show you how this can be set up. Now, what I am going to do basically here is set up this training Southwind and use the show table page. Now, one of the important things that happens in version 6.0 is when I set up a table, in this particular case, I'm using the attachment table in this training Southwind application. And when I do that, one of the things that version 6.0 does basically is it automatically goes ahead and recognizes the two fields that make up the file name and the file content. And when that happens, the important thing that happens is that we actually automatically in version 6.0 create the appropriate field types for that. And that's what I would like to show you. I'm getting an error over here. So obviously, okay, I apologize. I'm getting a number of errors. So let me just go switch over to the presentation over here and talk about what we need to do here. So in the case of the file content field, what is important over here is that the file content field is the add record on an ad page as an example. I can double click on that file content field and go to the display tab, and what I will need to do is essentially set the file styles. You will see it as a red circle over there set to file upload. And what that will do is once you go through and specify that field to be bound to the file content field in the database, this particular setting style will automatically display the browse button, essentially a file upload control on the page for you. So this is kind of the first step in essentially specifying a file upload button on your page. Now, the next thing that we need to do beyond specifying this as a browse button is we need to actually specify what's called a companion field. And the companion field is the file name field. In the file name field, what happens is that the file name field, whenever a file is uploaded, the name of the file then is saved in this companion field. And what IronSpeed Designer does, it allows you to specify this companion field in the display style options section of the page properties dialog box. So in this case, what you can do is select the drop down and select the name of the field where the file name should be saved, and that's why we call it the companion field. Once you do that, IronSpeed Designer will actually take care of effectively specifying for you the file name in this field. So not only will the file content itself be saved in the file content field that is in your database, but the file name is actually also saved in that companion field. So this is how you can effectively create essentially a file upload control where you can not only upload the file, but also the name of the file as well. Now, the other side of that thing is that how can you create a download link? Now, again, IronSpeed Designer 6.0 has made this much easier. What you can do is you can add a file download, select a file download control, and what this will allow you to do is basically specify the file content field as of style file download. When you do that, obviously it is the field itself will contain all of the binary data, and what IronSpeed Designer will do is actually automatically create a link that will retrieve the binary data for you to display it. Now, what will that link actually contain? Well, the link actually will be either the words open file, or they will actually be the name of the file if you specify the file name companion field. So just like what we did on the upload side, we will do the same thing on the download side as well, which is we will effectively specify the companion field on the display styles here on the page properties dialog box. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the file download style actually not only supports a binary field, but also supports a string field if the string field contains a URL. So this way, what will happen is effectively that the file download is actually overloaded in that sense that it allows you to support either a binary field, and it'll display the open file link for that, or it'll actually display the actual URL that is contained in your database. So in some cases, for example, the file field that you want to essentially show as a link can simply be the URL field in your database. So that's how easy it is for you to create both a file upload and a download in version 6.0. This does not require any code customization for you from your end. You can simply do that within Iron Speed Designer on the page properties dialog box. So that's for the